Have you ever met the guy that you wanted to hate? And when you went to pull your straps up, he told you to wait. Now let me give y'all a little demonstration. See, I ran into these dudes from the Aryan Nation. It was a Friday, my day, exit off the highway. Peace, peace, peace and love, peace and love. This is yours truly, General Pow Shadowz of the House of Hip Step, back with another good and informative video. And as you know, most people know me as Pow Shadowz the General, an MC, a producer, and a DJ, based out of here in Nashville, Tennessee. But I'm also author of this book, NGR, What Does It Mean? An expose on the N-word from a hip-hop perspective. And by author P.E. McCallum is my other surname. It's my author name, P.E. McCallum. But most people just call me Pow. And, I encourage everybody to go over to Amazon and just check it out. Just check out my book, NGR, What Does It Mean? If you go to Amazon, you'll see it's available in audiobook, paperback, and Kindle. And, yeah, just go over there and check it out. You can, read a preview of it. And you can even listen to a sample of the audiobook as well if you think you might like that too. So I encourage everybody to go check it out and support me in my efforts with this. So today I want to do a little something different because, a couple videos ago, I think it was, I read what the back of my book is all about, right? Like I read the caption on the back of my book, and it kind of summarizes a little bit the mission statement of the book and what I was trying to do. And I wanted to just remind everybody that of this line right here. I say, I also consider this a memoir, a social experiment, and a daring attempt to delve deep into the psyche of American culture surrounding the struggles to correct racial and social injustice, white supremacy, and a horrible state of race relations we are currently experiencing in this country. So, my book, this platform, this channel, it's not just to promote my book, right? But it's also to have some intelligent discussions about white supremacy, and to help us to establish better race relations in the country, right? Because I feel like the biggest problem is that, yes, we have integration in the country, but there still is a lot of conversation that needs to take place and a lot of understanding that needs to be born, among the different groups of people, the different races here. And I think that's why I think that it's important for us to have platforms like mine that we, where we discuss race and race relations like openly. So, just getting into what I really wanted to talk about today, and it's a little bit different than my book. I wanted to talk about something that I've seen in the media recently. There's a rapper by the name of Hocus 45th, right? And salute to Hocus 45th. And, I saw where he basically is doing a challenge, a gangbang challenge, and it's called the Drop Your Flag Challenge. And that's where you drop your gangbang and flag, whatever it is, whatever gang that you represent, and you drop your flag. And, you disassociate from being a gangbanger. And I guess when you drop your flag, then that disqualifies you from being a gang member also. Because, you got people, you have gang bangers and then you have gang members. Gang bangers are people that are actively banging, they're riding for the set and pushing the line of the set and really, active. And then you have gang members, people who are members of the gang, but they're not active gang bangers. They're, people like, I guess Nipsey Hussle would have been a good example. And they're dropping their flag. And, I think that I wanted to really address this because, dropping your flag, right, I think is something that is very productive, right? It's like constructive. It's probably the most constructive thing that a gangbanger can do is drop their flag, because what it is that if you think about it, it really is a blow to the system of white supremacy. And the reason that I say it's a blow to the system of white supremacy is because, you know, what gangbangers are doing, for the most part, you know, are destroying themselves. You're destroying other black and indigenous people. Let's just keep it 100, right? And, you know, black and indigenous can refer to all the gangbangers, because you got the so-called black gangs like the Vice Lords, the Folks, you know, GDs, BDs, etc. All the Chicago gangs, and the California gangs. You got the Bloods and Crips, but then you got the Mexican gangs, which they fall under indigenous people. They are, you know, indigenous to the planet. They're considered original people, and you know, you have the Latin Kings, you have the Norteños, the Serenos, I think it is. I'm not that familiar with the Latin Mexican gangs, and I do know we got MS-13 and etc. So it's the most progressive thing you can do, because white supremacy seeks to destroy and disempower non-white people, right? That's the mission of white supremacy, is to destroy and disempower the non-white people. So when you drop your flag, you automatically, that's a big blow automatically to the system of white supremacy. Because what you've been doing is, as a gangbanger, right, as somebody that's actively going out to do violence and do harm and bang on people that look like themselves, other people of color, which is essentially what the white supremacist groups like the KKK would do, is they would go around and they would bang on black and indigenous people, right? What would be the set? The set would be the white robe, right? That's the set, and your black skin would be, you know, the op. You see what I mean? The white skin would be one gang, the black, they consider the black skin or the dark melanated skin another gang, right? So they would bang on you. I remember back in the day, I saw an article, and I don't know how true this is, but I did see an article that said the first drive-bys was when white settlers would do drive-bys on Native Americans, and they would get on horses and, you know, take their guns, and they would basically do a drive-by on a village, an Indian village, on horseback. And from what I understand, these was the first drive-bys, right? I saw an article. Y'all could Google that. I don't know how true that was, because it was just an article that I saw in a paper, but it made sense to me. It made a lot of sense to me, and it really woke me up. It really woke me up, because I was like, wow, you know. Now, I always was a person that, when I was like 13 years old, I was hanging out with some gangs. I was hanging out with some gang members. You know, I was young, and I wanted something to belong to, and I was the kind of young person that was, I was open to things, you know. I was open to whatever, like, and there was things that were going on in my community, in my hood. I was open to these things, you know, because that's what I looked up to. These are individuals I looked up to. These are people that I rock with. So, and there was gangsters in my school, gangbangers in my school, in my middle school. So I started hanging out with them. But, you know, one thing I noticed was, one thought that came to me was, you know, I would have to basically be cool with taking the beef and the problems of somebody else. And I just didn't like the idea of me having to take on your issues, because what if you're not official? What if you're not an official person and you out here creating problems, and then I gotta clean your problems up? You know, we had a situation at the mall where, you know, some dudes banged on us or whatever. I was hanging out with them. I wasn't even in the set, but I was hanging out with them. I was observing, just watching stuff, and some dudes kind of like banged on us because I was with them. And, you know, where I was like kind of ready to go. I was, kind of ready to, put in some work and at least scrap or squabble. These guys kind of like punked out. Peace to them, you know what I'm saying? We was young, we was all kids. I was 13, they probably was 14, and these guys was way older than us that banged on us from the opposite set. But and I just watched my boys kind of like punk out. They wasn't ready to squabble at all, I felt like. And I just felt like that wasn't something that, I thought about it. I was like, here I am ready to dump, and this ain't even my gang, and I'm just trying to do what I thought was right in the situation. But then that's when I realized, I was like, I would have to take on other people's problems. I have to count on other people and depend on their integrity. You know what I'm saying? It's a little too much for me. But nah, man, you definitely, when you drop your flag, it's a blow to white supremacy, man. It's a blow to racism, to the systemic racism. Because if you think about it, what's the number one goal of the white supremacists, right? People, what is a white supremacist? Somebody who thinks that the white race is superior to all other races, and they're the only race that should exist. And if any other races do exist, they should be in subjugation to the white race, right? This is the foundational thought of white supremacy. And so it's to oppress other people, right? To subjugate is to oppress. So that means to be beneath. You want, it's to push you down, to push non-white people down. And when you are gang banging, right? You're an active gang banger. You're actively going out looking for people, ops that are your same race and nationality, to kill, to shoot, to rob, to scare, to intimidate. You're doing this. You're helping the system of white supremacy. And if you are a person that, is against the system of white supremacy, if you're a person that's against racism, right? And when we say the system of white supremacy, remember, we're not talking about all white people. We're talking about a particular system that seeks to oppress and subjugate non-white people, right? And that is, and participators of this do it in their various positions of power. Like if they're judges, they might, subjugate non-white people in a courtroom, make unfair judgment, unfair decisions. If they're in the housing industry, they may not rent or not appraise a house at a proper value for a non-white couple, as they would treat a white couple better, and give them higher appraisals on their home, or rent to them, or things of that nature. Police officers, they may pull over non-white people, but they may let white people get away with stuff. So that creates a system of racism and a system of inequality from these people who are participators in the system of white supremacy, inserting themselves in these various systems, judicial system, healthcare. You can discriminate. There's been a lot of reports of people being discriminated against in the healthcare industry. Firemen. I've heard stories and read articles of firemen discriminating, not saving non-white people who are burning and allowing them to burn. So when you gangbang, you support that system. It's no other way around it. So when you drop your flag, that's really progressive. That's the most constructive thing that a gangbanger can do. I salute you. I salute Hocus 45th for what he did and making that video. I salute Styles P for coming and supporting him. And I salute Styles P for getting on Adam 22's head. Now, these are all people I haven't met. I haven't met these people personally. But of course, I keep up with social media platforms just like you all. And some of the stuff I see disturbs me. It was disturbing to see Adam 22 of the No Jumper platform kind of make a mockery of the Drop Your Flag challenge. And this is a person of European descent, right? He's not black, and he made mockery of the challenge, and he was saying it was to some other people who he knew personally who dropped that flag, and he was kind of poking fun at them. But you know, that was really a bad, distasteful thing to do, because you know, we need our black and indigenous men being constructive, and you know, doing more positive things in their community. We need them to drop their flag. You know what I'm saying? We need them to make positive moves like that are constructive. So yeah, man, I thought that was distasteful. You know, support, you know, anybody when you see people in the black and indigenous community dropping their flags, support that. All right. So this is yours truly, General Pow Shadowz, just wanting to encourage all you gangbangers and gang members to consider dropping your flag and following Hocus 45th, because if you are against the system of white supremacy in any shape, form, or fashion, I just gotta inform you that gangbanging is, you're kind of supporting that system, you know, and I know you don't want to be doing that. So, all right, again, author P.E. McCallum, of the author of the book NGR, What Does It Mean? Better known as Pow Shadowz the General, author of NGR, What Does It Mean? An expose on the N-word from a hip-hop perspective. You can get it on Amazon right now. Available in audiobook, paperback, and Kindle. Love y'all, man. Just stay positive. Want to just encourage y'all to spread love, not hate. And don't let nobody stop your hip step. All right? Don't let nobody stop your hip step. Hip step over all the obstacles. Anything to get